I keep forgetting I'm 3 meters tall.
Yeah, it's just because of the scaling of the world. Like, they are set to, by default, like their regular height, but like regular height is a
It's so
child
small.
with the way the world is scaled up. All right. But yes, hello everyone, and welcome back to the VHS podcast. Today we're talking about Revenge of the Sith, and this is actually being recorded before I record Attack of the Clones. But for reasons this is coming out after that. Oh shit! I didn't lock the window. Lock that. I don't want these moving all over the place. Pardon my schizophrenia. So, I'm going to try to blast through my little synopsis I wrote real quick. The Clone Wars rage on. Anakin's now a Jedi Knight, and Obi-Wan's a Master on the Council. The two are sent to rescue Chancellor Palpatine from the clutches of General Grievous. After another duel with Dooku, Anakin emerges victorious, slaying the Sith Lord and narrowly getting Kenobi and Palpatine to safety. In the shadows, Sidious begins the final touches of his plan, tempting Anakin to the dark side with visions of Padme dying, eventually culminating with him revealing himself to Anakin by dropping his disguise as Palpatine. Anakin initially seeks to kill him and end the war, but turns to the dark side to learn the power to save Padme. Obi-Wan, wrapping up his mission to defeat General Grievous, narrowly escapes the beginning of Order 66, unlike the majority of the rest of the Jedi who are slain, except, a couple like Yoda, Ahsoka, and blah blah blah. He and Yoda journey to the Jedi Temple to send a warning signal and learn of Anakin's turn. Yoda goes to the Senate to confront Sidious, and Obi-Wan to Mustafar to face Anakin. Yoda fails, goes into exile, and Obi-Wan mortally wounds Anakin, and Padme passes away after giving birth to the twins Luke and Leia. And, roll credits.
Beautiful. That's my nose. Careful with that. I grew it. I found it in a cloning factory.
Yeah, man, I miss seeing the hype when this movie was coming out because, I was...
Yes.
I was 11 when this came out, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone at the schools were talking about it back in the good old days. Back when we had to write notes to each other.
Yeah. Because we had cell phones at the time, but that was pretty much only rich people stuff. I actually remember at the time I had I was given an old Nokia that didn't work just to carry it around. And I showed it to all my friends, and then it was taken away from me and thrown in the trash because I did that. I don't really get why. Whoop. Wrong button. But yeah, especially after I would read the books, so I knew most of what was going to happen, but it was cool getting to see it play out in the movie versus how I would imagine it.
And I played the game before I'd seen the movie. So people who hadn't seen the movie yet, I'd already know how the movie ended. They'd be talking I guess it was, I don't know how to describe it. I played the game, never saw the movie. So when people tell me how it happened in the movie, they ask, well, how do you know you didn't see the movie? I just know. The Force is what the Force tells me. I just know everything that happens because I lived it.
Yeah. I remember seeing the trailer for that when it was coming out, and I didn't have a PS2 at the time, so I couldn't get my hands on it, but it looked pretty cool. I remember thinking, man, the graphics look amazing in this, and now you look at the game now, and it's
yes. I mean, even in the movie, you can tell how much of that is CG now.
Yeah,
CGI,
at the time, it looked really good, but sometimes CGI doesn't age super well.
I thought it looked incredible.
It does in some spots, and in other areas, it's painfully obvious. And then there's weird stuff they do, when Obi-Wan's about to just leave the Republic ship to go to Utapau, and he's talking with Commander Cody and some other guys, you'll notice some of the clones are CG, duplicates of, the actor. And then there's a couple of other just random guys. I'm they never address it. These are all supposed to be clones of the same dude. What's this random other guy here for?
Random. Perhaps they were predicting the Bad Batch 20 years prior.
No, it's completely different people. Bad Batch is still clones. They're just they had issues.
My Star Wars lore is broken.
You're what now?
I'm from the old canon, pre-episode 7.
So then, let me see. And man, the opening shot is just so fucking badass.
Yeah, that didn't look too bad. That was pretty good.
Oh, that whole sequence still holds up. It's just other random things that
Man,
yeah.
I remember when my mom and I seen it once. She's like, "Well, did they actually film this in space?" I'm like, no, they didn't film it in space.
I swear I read somewhere they talked about doing that in one of the new ones to just do like one little scene, but they were like, yeah, this is only going to cost us like half the movie's budget, so like, nah.
Yeah, it cost a bunch to get a 30-second shot of a planet. It costs about $700 million at minimum.
That's pointless at that point. But
if the movie makes money, they'll be in business.
Yeah, but I don't think so even if they made $1 billion, you still only made a $300 million profit. So
yeah, that's true.
That's not really that good. So I
wonder.
It's
about the record, the holder, just to be able to say I did it.
Yeah. Do you think Anakin takes off the mechanical arm during sex?
Yeah, he does stuff with it. He's all about that.
My tracking is weird.
Oh boy.
Like I put my hand on my hip.
Patreon. Anakin would never put his hands on his hips.
Wait,
he puts them
no,
on
that
his
is just
sides.
the Avatar. Actually, I don't think it's the Avatar. I think it's
I can't do it
fat.
either.
I mean, you can do it a little better, but yeah. I think the problem is this Avatar is fit and I'm not, but I'm working on it. We'll get there. One day I can touch my Avatar's
jumping
tummy.
jacks. Let's go, jumping jacks. Not force jacks, jumping jacks.
No, it's always button. I always hit the button by mistake. But yeah. Oh yeah, so it does kill me how blatantly obvious Sidious is constantly like, yo, we gotta stop trusting those Jedi. Now come listen to me tell you about the dark side. And it takes... And keep in mind, also in the Clone Wars, he's like this. And then only at some point in this movie, he's like, wait a second, you're the bad guy. Like, come on. He's painfully obvious.
Well, he had to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, them old guys, they say all kinds of garbage.
Excuse me. But yeah, and similarly to what I love him talking in the future past tense. What I said in the previous Star Wars episode for Attack of the Clones is it's kind of like how Anakin and Padme fall in love too fast in the previous movie. Anakin turns to the dark side too fast in this. They did kind of help that a bit with the Clone Wars show, but like at the time that the Clone War at the time this movie came out, the Clone Wars didn't exist for another like 3-4 years. So
did it have that? There was this weird obscure show I remember forever ago. It was a 2D cartoon.
That was the predecessor to that,
Wars,
but yeah. They actually
I don't know if that
based
was during that movie or not, though. I don't remember.
No, they based the appearance of the animated show off of that, but they wanted to like change some things. Because like they still brought characters over from that, like Asajj Ventress is in that, and then she's in the other show. Well, she's actually in like both of the other animated shows at this point. I know she was in the Bad Batch. I just haven't seen the last season yet, but we'll get there. And yeah, all you see in this movie is he gets upset for not getting promoted to Master, scared of losing Padme, and he's like, all right, I'm bad now. Whoops. Turned both of my kyber crystals on.
Is this the part where we get the younglings? Because they've got whoopings that's overdue. All right, hold on. I got an idea. I don't know if this goes off script. I gotta go tiny to be youngling sized. I'm ready to fight.
Oh, I see.
Master
Damn it.
Skywalker, what are we gonna do? I apologize if that goes off script.
Nah, it's fine. It's what
I'm
makes these things.
growing. Because of my trials, I was able to grow into a functional man.
Good job. But yeah, then this one has a lot of stuff to it. So the duel between Sidious and the Masters like looks kind of ridiculous because how he just takes out 3 of them with no effort.
They just kind of stand
However,
there and just die.
part of the reason of this is Ian McDiarmid he was an old guy. He only had 5 days to learn the choreography, and he wasn't really it wasn't the thing he wanted to do, but it still needed to be done because of the movie. And they reshot the sequence a little bit because there is a shot, if you pause when he's fighting Windu, you will notice he's actually holding Anakin's hilt in a couple of shots. It keeps switching back and forth, and I always how did they mess up those props? That makes no sense. What it was is they originally had Anakin go with them, and then Sidious just took his lightsaber, started fighting, and he was just kind of standing there defenseless. And what was interesting, what I found, and I'll put a picture over here on the screen somewhere, is I found this Revenge of the Sith figure at this store near me that they sell old games, figures, records, all sorts of nerd stuff. And it's Palpatine, and you'll notice in the package he's got a blue lightsaber. And I was like, I wonder if this is a rare little mistake, somebody put the wrong accessory in, but they actually had finished that scene to a point that it got shown to the toy makers, and they created that, and then they had to reissue some versions with the red saber after, but it still has the same hilt because of the way the toys were. It was you had the hilt, and you would take the little blue piece and just stick it in the slot. So they would just put a red one in there. So that's why that happens in that. And I thought oh, that's amusing, because I was always just how did they mix the props up? They don't look the same. You got this iconic thing we've seen in fucking every movie just about. And then Sidious's is this silvery gold, very elegant thing. I'm never understood why they messed that up. But it was just because they repurposed some of the footage. And I'm yeah, cool.
I know they messed the props up too when Anakin's fighting Obi-Wan. When Anakin gets down when he's on that table, I don't know whose lightsaber switches.
Yeah, that was my next point actually, because it's when he's choking him. Obi-Wan, you'll see in the shot, he's holding this one, and then it switches to his, and then in the next shot it switches back. And I actually watched, because it wasn't this room, it was one of the other rooms where they got the long table. He gets it knocked out of his hands, and then he kicks him when he's running up to him. And how it goes is he's initially facing this way, loses it this way, kicks him, turns around, and then he calls his saber from over here, which comes up as his, but it's Anakin's that he dropped.
Yes, yeah, it's someone else's.
I'm assuming what happened there isn't that it was a mistake, it's probably just reshoots where they had knocked each other's saber out of their hands and had just grabbed each other's wrong one and just been screw it, just keep fighting. But who knows? It is still irritating to look at because I can't unsee it.
I heard that at the very end of it, when Anakin is climbing up that hill, he's actually begging Obi-Wan for help. But they muted that part out, and they just make it say that he just hates him. But before they do that, apparently there's a scene where, you can see it, he mouths the words, but they've muted it.
Yeah.
I can't remember how all it was, though. I'd have to look at it again.
But yeah, It was still shocking, especially the first time I saw it, just watching him get burned and then being reassembled, screaming in pain the whole time. It was just, whoa. But it's still cool when he just, like, he comes up and then, it's just the first time he's in the suit.
But yet the first thing he asks is, where's Padme? He is a real one.
Mm-hmm. A true simp. But yeah. Now, something it couldn't have happened because character hadn't been created yet, but I wonder how different the fight could have been had Ahsoka, like, been there with Obi-Wan. And, like, then, it would have been him versus, like, the two of them, 3 lightsabers. It could have been interesting.
Be some.
Especially...
Maybe they'll recreate it someday.
Yeah, especially if, it would have been a pretty weird thing is if they also had, because of where she would have been on Mandalore after, if Maul had also been present. So it would have been 2 Jedi versus 2 Sith, and the 2 Sith are against each other at the same time. So it's just, they're all just fighting each other. Could have been, that would be a pretty wild fight, but I would have preferred it been longer still, because the actual fight is only about 6 minutes, which does sound like a decent amount, but it's because it cuts back and forth. That shit annoyed me when I was a kid. It's like, I don't care about this old man and this little frog fighting. I want to see the good shit that I came for.
You gotta...
Yeah.
I don't know, is that fight the longest sword fight in cinema history, or is there longer ones?
I don't know. It was.
If you can count,
I think it was. I think it was at least the longest saber fight that they had done, but I don't know. I don't know if it still stands today or whatever. And yeah, and then you got Padme's funeral and with Jar Jar's like 6 seconds of screen time. He apparently, I looked it up. Apparently, he has 53 seconds of screen time. So I guess there must be other shots where he's just in the background somewhere. But like, I
only remember him at their funeral.
I don't see him. I don't know where they're getting 53 seconds because like her funeral scene is not 53 seconds. So I'm like, I don't know where they're getting that figure. But I only remember seeing him at the end. Like you see him walk and then you see the close up of him and then that's it. And then he just disappears from the rest of the saga. There was actually a joke when they were making The Force Awakens that JJ was like, it's going to open, you're going to be on the desert planet, the camera's just going to pan by a pile of Jar Jar bones, and then we'll just carry on with the movie. But it was just a joke. That would
have been some.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of funny, though.
But yeah. I think that's about it for this one. And then the next one will be A New Hope. We'll get through that series, and then maybe I can convince him to watch the Disney ones. All 5 of them.
All 5 of them? Oh, yeah, there is 5. I'd seen them all once. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Episode 7 wasn't all that bad. Disclaimer. What?
But yeah,
gotta end it with controversy.
But yeah, if you don't do those episodes, then you're my enemy.
You betray the true Star Wars fandom. Only Sith deals with Disney. Oh!
Oh wait, let's see if I wonder if we can do that thing where they're just like swinging back and forth. They don't actually hit.
I have to take this off to do that.
All right, yeah. Episode 4 will be at some point. But what we're gonna do especially for that is I have the unaltered cut.
Oh, yippee!
So,
wait, does that mean we get Jabba as the person?
I'm not sure if that's actually in the cut or not, because like that wasn't. As far as I understand, that was actually cut from the original movie. it was just a deleted scene. I don't think that was actually there originally. I could be wrong. I don't remember seeing it when I watched that cut. I think they left it out.
Is this one we?
Oh wait,
Don't
yeah,
forget
it was
the Christmas one.
It
I've actually
was.
never seen it.
It was always cut because they did it, and then it was like you never saw Boba Fett until the second movie, and you never saw Jabba until the third movie. So that was never actually there. But yeah. All right. See ya.
Adios.